Hello world, and welcome to Elevated Intuition. Today we are doing a pick a card reading for what talents, gifts, and skills are you meant to develop. So I've got 3 piles here for us, and that's what a pick a card is. The first talent that you get to display is to use your intuition to pick the number, pile, or object. I'll be placing objects here in a moment. That resonates with you. Then I have the timestamp down below in the description. You click on that timestamp, you find your group, and then I use my intuition to read the cards for you. I have a lot of cards today, so we're going to get some pretty detailed messages, and I think that's all I need to tell you for right now. Let's go ahead and put objects on these groups. So if you like to pick with objects, and it seems like the objects, I already did the reading. I do the reading because sometimes I'm shuffling on camera. So it seems like the objects are actually related to the reading. So it might help you to see them. Group 1, and I'm using eggs because it's like, what are we hatching here? Not literal eggs, but they're egg shaped. Anyway, group 1, this is a Selenite egg. And we'll put that right there. Whoops. Don't roll. Group number 2, this is Malachite. So it's green, and it's got some hatching going on already, as it does have some openings here. But that's what Malachite looks like. I want to make sure, because it's kind of dark, so I want to make sure you see what it looks like. So group 2 is Malachite. And group 3, this is a black Moonstone Egg. So if you're still not sure which group or pile or object is for you, I'm going to do an exercise in breathing. Don't worry, no jumping jacks unless you want to. Pause the video if you do. Otherwise, just take a nice seat, like deep seat. Go ahead and close your eyes and take a deep breath in and release. Release out any tension, and we're going to set the intention that you will receive the messages you are supposed to hear. Take a deep breath in and release. And with that intention in mind, go ahead and open your eyes, and wherever your eyes are drawn, that is the group for you. So thank you, everyone. If these are also the kinds of readings that you're interested in, you let me know, and I will do more of them. Hello, group 1, and welcome to your reading for what talents, gifts, and skills are you meant to develop. So if you picked selenite, the Selenite Egg, just tell you a little bit about selenite. Might be helpful. Selenite was named after Selene, the goddess of the moon. So it is also meant to, and the moon is related to intuition, the divine feminine. It is also, I mean, look at how just really cool it is, because it is kind of, it's basically like almost a clear gypsum, and properties are meant for like rejuvenation, so beginnings, just feeling better, and being uplifted is what I was forgetting. Feeling uplifted. So sometimes it is used in protection as well. It works really well with tourmaline. Tourmaline is supposed to get rid of negative energy. And then selenite uplifts you after that. So let's take a look. I've got several cards here, and then I've got another deck over here we're gonna shuffle on camera. Let's see what we have. So I'm almost gonna do these backwards as we look at them. She who waits, Minara, patient, waiting, determination. So we'll wait patiently to get to that card. She who battles, Abanolaka. I'm terrible with these names. They actually, I love this deck. It's really interesting because it pulls like these awesome female names from all over the world. So I apologize to this culture for me slaughtering the names, but I'm Irish. I'm related to a guy who has a lot of Polish, and I promise you I will slaughter those names as well. It's nothing here. But anyway, justice, fierce, and commitment is this card. And again, we will get to those. We're going backwards. Watchers, transpersonal. And then we have first breath, beginner's mind. Look at that. I talked about selenite being related to the moon and also being rejuvenating. So rejuvenating is kind of a new beginning, right? We're rejuvenating something. We're kind of starting it over. And then also now we have third eye chakra, which talks about our intuition, and selenite is connected to that. And look at just how bright it is. It almost seems like it glows. So good pick here, group 1. The third eye chakra, this is the frequency of the third eye chakra here. It's the indigo flower of life. The flower of life is this geometric pattern. It's 13 concentric, see, I can't even say other words. Concentric circles that are interlocking and linked, and then it creates this beautiful design. So in this deck, it relates all of the chakras to the flower of life, the connection, because our chakras are connected. But it also reminds us that our energy is connected to other people. Indigo is the color for the third eye chakra. It supports our intuition and our inner knowing, our imagination, and our psychic powers. I'm seeing a lot of imagination and psychic powers here, especially with the watchers and first breath. The third eye chakra, it is located right in the middle of your forehead, kind of above your nose. And as I'm talking about this, as I talk about mine, and I don't know if it's because I've done a lot to try to develop it, I feel a tingling in my third eye chakra. There are actually some amazing meditations to help you open your third eye chakra. There are frequencies to help you open that third eye chakra, and you should feel, well, I'll just give you my experience. When I'm working on and concentrating on my third eye chakra and opening that up, I feel a tingling in it. So that's how, like, when I'm it is hitting on all senses right now. You can really open, so as we go with gifts and talents here and our skills, there's a lot of psychic skills here. There's a lot to do with the development of your mind and connection and spirituality. If that is not hitting or resonating with you, perhaps this isn't the right reading for you. But because we're going to go down this path and we are going to talk about opening up not only to our connection with the universe, our connection with the creator, with creation, the energy of creation, the energy of other people, but also ourselves. So the watcher kind of takes it a little bit here. I love I don't know what this is supposed to be. I'm just looking at it. It almost looks like a very Egyptian carving, and at first, but it has kind of like a bull face. But what really captures my attention here is this kind of light at the top. And that's where I'm feeling that it is related here to this third eye chakra. That kind of like opening up of our mind, our opening up of that chakra, that our inner knowing, our inner knowledge, our intuition. And it's like closing our eyes and seeing with that third eye, that we can't see the physical world with. We're seeing the spiritual world, the emotional world. We're really exploring ourselves, and it's kind of this idea of exploring the universe through exploring ourselves. Okay, so let's talk about the color of indigo, because I said that's what differentiates the third eye chakra from the other chakras. And it is, again, linked to our intuition, our insights, our ability to see beyond three-dimensional reality into the world, our inner world, and it merges our conscious and unconscious. And I love that the Watcher is here, because I kind of feel like sometimes we need to step out of our thoughts. And I think you need to develop this, step out of your thoughts and be an observer of them. Have you ever done that? Where you have a thought and then you like question it, because a lot of people don't, and it does take some practice if you've never done that. If you have, this is a confirmation here of that skill and developing it more. The great thing about that skill is then you can start questioning those thoughts, and are they really even your own thoughts, or are they thoughts that you have been programmed with through society? Do you really believe that you need to get married in a white dress, or is that just something that's ingrained to us in society? Those kinds of things. Do you really believe that you need to be a specific size, or that you need to have a specific job or drive a specific car? There are so many things that are programming us, and marketing doesn't help. Marketing tries to program us to think that their product or their thing or this way of thinking, this way of being is what everyone wants. But not everybody wants this. Have you ever seen The Devil Wears Prada? At the end, like, she gets so wrapped up in this world of fashion, and she figures out she's really good at it, and she's kind of like basically made it. But then she's like, wait a second, do I even really want this? Do I even want this? So when we have the first breath here, this new beginning, I kind of feel like the result of you opening up, the result of you questioning the thoughts that are going on in your mind, and being like this observer, being this watcher here, is that you are like, wait a second, this is not the path that I want to go down. I want a fresh start. I'm looking at things through fresh eyes. I feel like creativity is really gonna flow here. Have you ever just shown a child a picture of something and asked them what it is? And it might be some sort of abstract thing. They actually did. I was watching where I think it was a psychology show or something, where they did this with kids, like those Rorschach. And the things that they came up with were so creative. But by the time we get to be adults, like, we just see one thing and that's it. But this is opening up your creativity, listening more, because I think listening is part of learning. It's not that you don't have something important to say, you do, but right now, your talents is in watching and observing and listening, and then running it past your intuition. Is this for me? Is this not for me? And deciding that, because you're going to really work on What baggage are you going to bring with you into the future? What stays, what goes? I love that we have she who waits, this patience over here over watchers, because it does take a lot of patience to watch. I also feel like meditation is something like a skill that you really need to work on and develop. And I think that meditation, if you have a hard time with meditation, there's so many different ways to do it. It's not a one size fits all. And I think that's part of like opening up your mind here and discovering that the way that you do things, or the way that you communicate with the universe and you collect the creativity and how you repurpose it in your life and how you use it is completely different than what somebody else would do. And that's okay. It's okay to be over here and other people be over here. It doesn't mean that we're not connected. We are. We're all influencing each other. Our energy is influencing each other, but we can't all be in the same spot. Otherwise it would be completely boring. There would be no creativity at all. And this is asking you really to open up your creativity and let it shine and let it bloom. I love the she who waits, this Minara here, this patient waiting and determination. The determination does relate over here to this she who battles in that commitment. It is, but it's very quiet in the beginning. It's very quiet. We have our eyes open or our eyes shut. We're seeing with that third eye. We're allowing knowledge to come in. We're allowing it not only from people we agree with, but from people we don't agree with. And sometimes when we agree with something, we have to ask ourselves, why do I agree with that? Is it because it's something that my mom said when I was 5 years old? Did I hear it on a jingle on television and it just is something that I never questioned? Did a teacher tell me this and I'm like, wait a second, I have a completely different life than I did when I accepted this knowledge? It is allowing things to open up and allowing things to unfold. I love that she has this light, this butterfly in her hand. We're opening up, and I feel this beautiful light here through the first breath, right? It's almost is coming up her body like it would her chakras until we reach this third eye chakra, and we're using that to connect with the universe. She who battles. This is once you figure out what you need and who you are, protect it. Don't let anybody tell you who you are. You either have put in the work or you're putting in the work, and you are open to continually evolving and changing based on your observations, not what somebody else is telling you, based on your experience. Somebody telling you their experience is valuable. It's great, but you have to run it past your intuition to see if it is something that you can use, that it is something that, and just because you can agree to disagree, just because somebody has a different experience than you, it doesn't make them wrong either. We can all exist without, I guess she who battles here, but it's more about battling for herself and putting that armor of protection and protecting her sanity than allowing other people to conduct and control. This is you breaking free of that. I'm just going to get 2 more cards here. We already have the Fool out, which I love. I'm just going to put that right here next to First Breath, Beginner's Mind. Whoops. Okay. That was a whole stack of cards. I only want 2 more. I only want 1 more. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Whew. I just want to fit all these here so we can see them. We have, and I don't even know what this one is. Ooh, the High Priestess. Look at that. High Priestess and the moon. Those are the big intuitive cards in tarot. And the High Priestess comes out to confirm your connection to intuition, your connection to basically the unknown. What goes on in the nether, what goes on in our connection with creation. It's very unknown. We have so many stories that we've told ourselves about this. And what I tell myself about it is more dictated by where I was born than what is right or wrong. We don't know what's right or wrong. We only can know what's right or wrong for ourselves. And again, it doesn't mean that other people telling you that their experiences, that's valuable, but it doesn't mean that you have to accept it. And that's kind of here in the Seven of Wands, people telling you that you're wrong. But I love that we go from the Seven of Wands over here to the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is like, I mean, look at these two ladies. It's basically the same card, this Queen of Swords. Now, Swords is related to our thoughts. And this is you being very guarded over your thoughts. And you might have to, like, one of your skills and talents that you need to pick up here is not worrying about what other people think. And that is a skill. Putting a boundary around yourself. Boundaries. Not when somebody says something on social media, not taking it personally. Believing in yourself. Those are all skills. That is all power. That is all things that you need to learn. And I love the Fool. The Fool. These are perfect cards for. That's why I love using different cards, because it so confirms what we've been saying here. The Fool is 0 in the tarot. It's the brand new beginning. It is starting fresh. It is also, because I talked about like the third eye and the Watchers, deciding what you're going to take with you, what you're not going to take with you. I mean, she feels so light here that she feels like she can fly. She has so much potential because you're not bogged down by all of this negativity or fears, especially the negativity here in the Seven of Wands, where people are pointing fingers at you. But have you ever realized, like, when somebody points a finger at you, there are 3 fingers pointing at themselves. So when somebody points a finger at you and calls you a name or defines you in some way, that is usually because your energy is being a mirror to theirs. So when they call you something, you're really showing and putting up a mirror to them. And you should not internalize that. That is not about you at all. It has everything to do about these people who are pointing fingers at you. It has everything to do about their limiting beliefs. And you are putting in the work here with the Watchers and the third eye chakra so that you're not limiting yourself. There are no limits. We have this potential. We have birth. We have new breath of fresh air, this lightness here that's being, even though, we might carry armor, we may not from the outside look like we are this light and airy figure, but that's okay. That's what's going on in our mind. We are feeling really good about this new beginning because it is a skill. It's a skill to let go of the past. It's a skill to say, wait a second. These thoughts that I keep having about this subject, they're not helping me progress forward. It's actually holding me back, whether that is about some sort of person, a friendship, a job opportunity, something that you didn't do in 3rd grade that all of a sudden you wake up in the middle of the night about. We have to release that stuff. We can't carry it on. The sad thing about us as humans is, even though I believe that we have a beautiful infinite soul, right? And I think this is why it gets us in trouble, because I think we know we have a beautiful infinite soul. We have this beautiful infinite soul, but us as humans, we need a direction. We can't focus on everything all at once. We can only whatever has our attention has our focus. And I feel like the Watcher here is telling you, hey, pay attention to what you're focused to. Is it worth your focus? Is it worth your while? What is it that you want to focus on? Create this arrow. You might feel like you're being pulled back a little bit. Because we have to take care of that stuff. We have to take care of that negative thinking, those negative thoughts. We have to figure out, we have to learn how we can allow others, how to agree to disagree, how can allow others to express themselves, but how we have to grow in our confidence in ourselves. And that takes a minute. That's why we have the patience here. You have to have patience to allow that to grow. But the end result is you feeling fresh and new and almost like a new person, because we're not this experience back here. We're using it as experience. We're not using it as a crutch, as a way to gain sympathy. We're releasing it. We're letting it go because it's not helping us move forward. And we're moving forward in this creativity and this kind of almost a new passion and potential, a lot of potential. So that's what I have for you, Group 1. I hope that you have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, Group 2. If you chose the Malachite Egg, you are in the right spot for what talents, gifts, and skills are you meant to develop. So I just want to tell you what Malachite is. I think, I forget the actual word that it derives from, but it's Greek for soft. And I think it's because of the energy, because the stone itself, I don't know, it could be softer than others, but that's what it means, is soft, malachite. It flushes out toxic emotions and unwanted energy. The gifts are that it helps with inner strength and confidence, and it helps us to embrace change. So I feel like everybody could use a little malachite in their lives at this moment here, when things seem to be changing so much. So we are going to put these out, and then I'm kind of going to read them backwards from where I put them out. So we get she who whispers, Consatia, secrets, confessions, confidant. And she who flies, Valeris, dare do reach. And that's interesting because malachite, we have the soft part of it, but we also have the developing confidence. So I feel like that's a perfect choice for you. Then we have vanishing mirror, ego sublimation, letting go of that ego and who we think we are so that we can become who we dare to be, who we dare to become. Feast of plenty, choices and their consequences, meaning we've got a ton of choices around us, but part of this is figuring out what choices are for us, and then understanding that there are no wrong choices. We can use experiences, and we can always circle around and experience something else. And then integration, 30 integration. The frequency of integration supports our embrace of every aspect of ourselves, allowing what we perceive as positive and what we perceive as negative to harmonize in balance, in a balanced symphony of life. And I love that, especially with this this ego sublimation. I feel like there's a lot of shadow work here for you to do. I feel like it really is a talent to look at ourselves objectively and still love ourselves. Because I think we all have this idea that we have these deep, dark secrets, and that we want to try to keep them hidden. But with ego sublimation here and integration here, it's all about loving ourselves no matter what. Because the thing is, once we shine a light on our fears, on our, it's interesting that we have the she who whispers here, because a lot of times we try to keep those things secret. They're kind of become a bigger and bigger thing the more we try to keep it secret or we try to keep it hidden. You probably have heard that idea of guilty pleasures. There's no reason to feel guilty about those things. Like pleasure, there's no reason to feel guilty about taking pleasure and feeding your soul. I mean, of course, if you're hurting somebody else, but that's a whole other thing. Usually the ego sublimation has to do with our weaknesses, and I feel like the integration and this vanishing mirror is looking at ourselves in the mirror and seeing our potential despite our fears, despite what we feel like we lack, despite how we feel like, those negative thoughts that come up. I almost feel like there's some imposter syndrome here that we're meant to get over. That maybe you are in a rut, that you need to move forward, but we need to start looking at ourselves first. This integration is so interesting. I just want to talk about the geometry of this and what it means. And I'm going to hold it up here so we can see it a little bit better with it's very striking. And we've got these triangles, and we've got triangles facing upwards and downwards. And in this is the Sri Yantra, and I could be mispronouncing that. I apologize. I never said I was great at pronunciation, but let me know in the comments if I am. And it's integrating the male and the female. It is about balance. It is really about balance. Balancing our exterior world and our interior world. Kind of balancing what we see in the mirror versus how we feel inside. I think there's a lot of people, as we age, when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we kind of feel like younger inside. Or we could feel vice versa. Depends on what kind of day or evening we had, or the day before, or how we have abused ourselves. But it is connecting those things and being okay with it. And again, I feel like the talent here, or the gift here, and it doesn't really seem like this is a skill that a lot of people talk about, but it is so necessary, is learning to love ourselves no matter what. Because you know what, sweetie, I'm sorry, we're stuck. You're stuck with you. If there's something that you don't like, first of all, you can't ignore it. We need to look at it, shine a light on it, figure it out. Is it emotional eating? Why are we emotionally eating? You don't have to beat yourself up about that, about the action. We need to dig a little bit deeper and figure out what it is that, and this is all about self-discovery here. A lot of self-discovery. There's good news. No, don't get me wrong, because I'm saying there's good news because this is so fascinating though, but it is difficult work. It is hard work looking at our shadow. You might, want to read some Carl Jung, Jung, German, I believe, German philosopher, German psychiatrist, psychology, in that vein, in that realm, where he talks about the shadow and integrating the shadow. And it's all about finding balance, because the parts of ourselves that we're aware of at some level, but we don't want to fully integrate, it keeps coming up. And if you feel like you have to keep having the same relationships, the same issues, the same cycles, we're breaking those cycles because we're going to shine a light on it. We're going to shine a light on our shadow self and integrate it. We're going to basically make and I think this is a talent and a gift, making what we feel like is our biggest weakness something that becomes our biggest strength. Let me finish with this with this Siri Yantra. The so I was talking about these triangles. Some of the triangles are faced upwards and some of them are faced downwards. The male, which is the Shiva energies, those are the upwards, and the female, the Shakti energies, they're faced downwards. So it's integrating the feminine and the masculine. The feminine and the masculine need to be balanced. You can't balance the feminine by getting rid of the masculine, and vice versa. We need them both together. We need these energies together, and we have these energies within ourselves. And I'm not saying that your feminine and masculine is off. I'm just saying there's something off that we need to balance. And there's something in our shadow. And you may have already done like the dark night of the soul, or you've done some shadow work. And honestly, when you do that, when you've gone through that, you understand that it is something that is ongoing, that we keep digging deeper and deeper into, almost a feast of plenty. Oh, I was going to say, and this relates to the Feast of Plenty because it says choices and their consequences. When we have this integration, right, we've got these negative and positive aspects, the masculine and feminine. You know, we're balancing these powers, we're balancing them out. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That type of thing, that type of thinking, that type of energy. Understand that when you do something, there's consequences to those choices. Opportunity costs. Opportunity costs. You'll talk about opportunity costs if you have an economics class. When you spend your time going to a party, for instance, you give up that time to study. So understand that there's a give and take. There is a consequences to our actions, and that's what Feast of Plenty is. However, it also talks about, because it kind of comes in when we are sitting on the fence and we haven't done anything. And I think, did I say that I felt like you were in a rut? Did I say that I felt like, because I should have. And anyway, that's coming up. So I'm saying it now because it kind of feels like you're in a rut. It kind of feels like we have some work to do. We've got some inner work to do. Maybe we don't fully see that work, but the result of it is coming in with a lot of choices. And sometimes choices are hard to make. There are people who, it's interesting because I think it's easier for us to make choices for other people because we look at their life, we look at it from another perspective, from our own perspective. We're looking from the outside looking in, and we're like, oh, I know what that person should do. Yeah, they have those two choices, but that's what they should do. And I kind of feel like, you might want to be that person for yourself. Be that higher. What would your higher self do? What if you were outside looking in, what would you tell yourself to do? And follow those choices. But it's also about like forgiving yourself for choices that don't work out. That relationship that didn't work out. Okay, maybe there were red flags, but you'll know better next time, right? And if you don't, then you just keep repeating that pattern. That's what I was talking about here. So it's learning from these choices. There's not wrong choices. It's just wrong if, we continue to we continue to harm ourselves with the bad choices we're making, and we don't learn and grow through our experience. But there are plenty of choices. There are a ton of choices. Sometimes we feel like we're in a rut, and sometimes we have no choices. But once we calm this down, we can see there are a lot of choices, especially when we make up our mind to do something. So, she who whispers and she who flies. I kind of feel like these are two things in yourself that we need to integrate, kind of like the masculine and feminine, kind of like that balance. Because we've got this very sweet, soft energy, kind of like the Malachite. Right? That soft, Malachite means soft, but yet it helps us to build our confidence. It helps us to be daring. It helps us to make our choices and like live with no regrets, unless you get a no regrets tattoo that's spelled wrong. But even then, we've learned something, right? That's a life lesson. So she who whispers. I also kind of feel like being somebody who, because I think when we integrate ourselves, we show ourselves as being very confident. And even though it was coming up with, you know, you're looking at other people's lives and you're like, I know what choice they can make. I know what they should make. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to tell everybody what to do, but I feel like you're somebody who is a confidant. And actually, I think that's what consequia means in Latin, is confidant. You are a confidant. Be your own confidant, though. And this has so much to do with that ego side, with that shadow side, shining the light on the things that you're afraid to tell other people. But of course, if you are a confidant for somebody else, you know, that is not your story to tell. You can only tell your own story. So, but that's part of when you are balanced and you are in the flow and in the groove, you appear very confident to other people, and other people seek you out and want to know or want to tell you their secrets. And I feel like that is, that is a gift that can translate into like a career path as a counselor, as somebody who helps others. But really, I think I saw this on Dr. Phil once, like 20 years ago, that just identifying the problem is most of solving the problem. So being there and available for other people to confide in is just a tremendous help for others. And that is a gift that you are giving to others. The gift, though, that they give you, it allows you to understand that nobody is perfect. You don't have to judge them, but and having no judgment over things people tell you too, that is also a gift. And I'm talking about in situations where somebody is not harming others. That, of course, is completely different. But then we have the she who flies, do, dare, reach. This is the feminine. All of these are feminine cards, but this would be the feminine of Icarus. A lot of like Greek stuff coming through from Greek mythology here. Oh, all right. We're just getting some more cards. So we have King of Swords. We have Nine of Pentacles. Love that. Two more cards here. Okay, we've got Two of Wands. And we have, look at this, the Five of Swords. Five of Swords is interesting just because I kind of was talking about you over here being the confidant for somebody else and not telling them what to do. I just want to make sure that I can see all my cards here. But the Five of Swords is one of those energies. Interesting, we're getting a lot of swords energies with the King of Swords. You don't have to tell other people what to do. You can agree to disagree. The best thing here for you is to be an example. If somebody is seeking your advice, yes, but you don't have to seek it. And I think I even said this. You don't have to seek out other people and make them take your advice. In this Five of Swords, these are people working together. These witches are working on a brew. They're working together, and this one is not listening to the other people, and she is just taking over. And it's to her detriment too, because these two ladies, they have something to bring to the table, and they may disagree on how they should stir this or what they should put into it, but every point is valid and every experience is valid. And when you're working with other people, sometimes you do need to compromise. The Five of Swords, it can be very much a competition. But again, I think I've said this too, agree to disagree. We can agree to disagree. We don't have to because sometimes we just need to work together. And I think it'll surprise you once you allow somebody to whisper their advice, like what comes out of that, what kind of things you can learn and that can come out of that. The Nine of Pentacles, beautiful card. This is a card of abundance. This is a card, it kind of goes with this feast of plenty, that sometimes it looks like we're in a rut and we don't feel like we have any options, but it's because we haven't worked on our own self-love. We haven't like controlled the controllables. And I feel like the King of Swords is somebody who can handle that. You control the controllables. What does that mean? It means you don't worry about the things you can't control. You can make your bed every morning. Do that. You can wash your dishes. Do that. And as you start relieving some of these stresses, as you start cleaning things up, new options reveal themselves to you. So if it feels like, new perspective too, we need to look at things in a different way to really view our choices. But the Nine of Pentacles is somebody who is, who's been through it. There's been, some ups and downs, but she has been persistent. She has been, that's confidant, but she has a confidence that, and she has persisted. She who persists, and she who reaches and dares and does. Just do it. That old Nike marketing slogan. That was one of their better ones. Two of Wands. We have the Two of Wands here. I love the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is about taking your passion and putting it together in a plan, crafting a plan. Having an idea, having a plan, putting it forward. I love it here with Valaris, because if you remember in the Icarus was the one who created wings. And he created them out of wax and feathers so that he could fly. And his son, was Icarus the one who flew too close to the sun? And then maybe his dad was Daedalus. Okay. But there is some caution here. Because when you create something, like creating wings out of wax, if you fly too close to the sun, what's going to happen? It's going to melt. So we need to have a plan in place. That in itself is kind of a skill. Thinking things through, being strategic, having a plan and goals, and reaching those things. This isn't just like throwing something at the wall, spaghetti at the wall, and seeing if it sticks. Sometimes you need to listen to other people and their experiences. I don't know why I've like done that word. Experiences to figure out what you need to do. And that's what the King of Swords here is that kind of like that. And I just realized the Nine of Pentacles and the King of Swords, this masculine and feminine energy that we're blending together here. So the masculine energy is controlling, and the feminine energy is creating. But we need them both to have a plan. We need the control and we need the creation. If we have all the control and we have no creation, that doesn't get us anywhere. If we have all creation and we have no control, that just makes you me with like 50 projects in your basement and none of them are done. But we want to do some things to completion here. Group number 2. Your skill, your talent, your gift is to take things down, make it step by step, from, create a goal and to complete it use it to completion. And the integration is kind of a completion too. It brings things together. And what's the purpose of that? What's the purpose of bringing things together? To feel balanced, to feel good, to complete things. So that's what I have for you, Group 2. I hope that you have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, Group 3, and welcome to your reading for what talents, gifts, and skills are you meant to develop. And we start with this black moonstone that you picked. So I just want to tell you about black moonstone. It's a calming stone, and it's said to relieve stress and provide emotional healing. Its positive energy force may inspire creativity and cognitive thinking. It is believed to attract happiness, abundance, and success in both professional and personal aspirations. It's used with chakras, our third eye and our solar plexus chakra, to help stimulate dreams and psychic abilities. So if that sounds like you, or what you want to do, or what you want to develop, you are in the right spot. So there we go. As we're starting off with our gifts and talents and skills, we start off with the calming and psychic abilities and cognitive thinking. So we have she who prepares, Zenith, formulate, strategize, and devise. So I'm kind of going to pull these cards out backwards because we'll start with this one first. She who surprises, breeze, surprise, discovery, and revelation. And then we have dragon's hoard, protecting the future. And we have over here galactic mushroom, the divine matrix. And for the first card that we're going to talk about, we have prosperity. The frequency of prosperity supports our feeling of well-being by allowing the inclusion of everything that makes our body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit sing. Well, that's easy, right? Just, everything is great. It invites us to express ourselves in joy and celebration of abundance and riches that the universe provides. So this is a manifester. You are being called to develop those talents and gifts for manifestation. And Black Moonstone did discuss some of that prosperity, that abundance. So you might want to look at, like if you're wondering, where do I start with this manifestation thing? Just start by looking at manifestations. Abraham Hicks is a great place to start. The law of attraction. Start pulling those threads until you find something that really calls to you, that calls to your talents, gifts, or skills. And if you're looking at this wondering like, what the heck? You're going to surprise yourself here with the breeze card. Don't worry about it. There's a lot of discovery here. I think the galactic mushroom also just talks about that discovery. Dragon's hoard, protecting the future. So you might be somebody, a parent or a teacher, but that certainly is a skill or a gift of yours. Thinking about the future, protecting the future. I also think that gardening, in a very physical way. There's some very physical skills here. Gardening, because you would need to prepare and strategize and devise to that forward thinking. But I think thinking of what kind of world are we leaving to the next generation, whether that is your actual, your children or, the children of your friends and neighbors, is part of, and that is part of this prosperity. That's part of your skill set here. That's part of the gifts that you are meant to impart on the world and on the people around you and on the people that you love. This prosperity is not it's not just about, and obviously, I mean, we discussed, that came up, the body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit. So it's not about measuring somebody's bank account. And in fact, I think that there are surprisingly a lot of people who are, by every measure, prosperous, not every measure, but by that very physical measure of money. They are very prosperous, but they don't feel very prosperous. So this is getting all of this in alignment. And I said something about you planting things. And I think that also this idea about the future and, not just being so concerned with yourself or your physical being. Your physicality, though, is also very important, because we have the physical vessel of ourselves as well as our soul, that we need. It's all connected. It's all there together. This talks about all the different chakras working together. Yeah, it was the Moonstone that I was talking about, the 2 chakras, but prosperity is really engaging all of those chakras, from our root chakra to our crown chakra, that alignment. So part of what you need to develop is figuring out what makes you very grounded, probably working with your hands in the dirt, honestly, very physical things, plants, and that connection with nature. I'm touching my little plant right now. Plants and that connection with nature. You can do this in an apartment, in just one room. You can have plants, you can grow things, you can start off there. You don't have to have a massive acreage and be planting crops. And in fact, I almost think that is not what you should be doing, because planting a field of corn is very, yes, of course, that's something that we're planting for the future for other people, but I almost feel like there needs to be more diversity in that, specifically for you. However, you might be connected to farming or even ranching, or something where you are connecting with nature, you are growing things, you are and you're doing it not only for yourself but for other people. You might have be in the restaurant industry too, feeding other people. There's a lot of strategizing that goes into when we're dealing with something like growing plants. For instance, I know that if I'm going to grow something from a seed, I need to do this, and there's certain steps that need to happen. There are, it also depends on where you live, what the weather is like. Do I keep things indoors? Do I keep things outdoors? And there's so much that goes into that. But that is part of, does this sing to you? Does it mean something to you? Is it part of what you're providing for the future here with the dragon horde? So dragon horde is legacy also, and true riches, like true riches. And it's so interesting that, that comes out with prosperity, like our true riches. What is the true riches? And it's kind of something that you have to think about for yourself, because it is very kind of individualistic. And I talked a lot about kind of growth in plants. It just seemed to be coming through. But that is, again, a very scalable. Like I said, I have my little plant here versus a whole field of crops there, and every aspect in between. Are you planning for the future? Are you getting skills here in maybe real estate, or what is that? Trusts, things of that nature? What is it? Are you, when we're preparing, are we saving for our children's future, for their college fund for and beyond? Are you helping them prepare? Because I almost feel like, you know, there's such like a parental energy here of not only you doing these things, but helping and inspiring other people and people who are younger than you to grow and be balanced. And again, teaching them that it's more than just, you know, getting that job where you make a ton of money, it's something that makes your heart sing, that yes, you take care of yourself, but you also need to take care of your mind, body, and spirit. Might be a yoga connection here as well. Developing and growing with yoga, teaching yoga, showing others, you know, or at least allowing for that opening of like, hey, let's if you are a parent, like let's go do some yoga, in planting those types of ideas. This is not just planting physically, it's planting